All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're breaking down a system that our RedHub AI research shows is becoming absolutely essential for anyone creating content. We're talking about content repurposing automation. It's really all about how you can get the maximum possible value from every single thing you produce.
This quote from our analysis really gets to the heart of a problem we see all the time. You pour so much time and energy into making a great piece of content, and then it gets posted once, and its life is essentially over. That's a huge missed opportunity, and it leads to a much bigger issue.
We call this problem the content treadmill. I think you know the feeling. It's that constant pressure to create something new, from scratch, every single day just to stay relevant. It is exhausting, and as our analysis shows, it's also incredibly inefficient.
And this is what that inefficiency looks like in practice. That one video you spent days on, it just becomes a single upload. That insightful blog post, it's now trapped on your website, waiting for people to find it. When you look at it this way, you can see it's a massive waste of your creative effort.
So the big question is, how do we get off this treadmill? Well, the solution, based on our research, is a system called automation repurposing. Let's define exactly what we mean by that.
This right here is the core concept. Let's pull out the key phrases: AI-driven, multiple formats, and automatically. So we're not just talking about manually copying and pasting. We're talking about using intelligent systems to generate unique, ready-to-use assets for different platforms without all that manual labor.
And this comparison shows the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way, a long, slow chain of manual tasks for every single thing you make. But on the right, you have the new model, AI-powered workflows that do the heavy lifting for you, often in just minutes. The crucial shift here is moving from scaling your effort to scaling your output.
So why does this matter?
Well, according to RedHub analysis, this shift leads to 3 major benefits for growth. First, your reach just multiplies. Your core ideas are now showing up on all the platforms your audience uses in the format they prefer. Second, your SEO surface area expands. That just means more pages and more assets for search engines to find. And finally, creator burnout drops because you're working with leverage, not just pure effort.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. Let's look at the mechanics of how this system actually works, starting with just a single piece of content.
You can think of this whole process as a 4-stage pipeline. It all starts with capturing your main piece of content, your video, your podcast. Then, AI comes in and transforms it, transcribing it and understanding its key ideas. From there, it generates a whole range of different outputs. And finally, those new assets get distributed automatically. It's a very logical, repeatable flow.
This quote from our research really nails the strategy. It's not just about making a few extra social media posts. The goal is to take one recording and use it to build an entire content ecosystem, an ecosystem that serves your audience whether they prefer to watch, listen, or read.
And that brings us to the most important concept in this whole system: leverage. The focus here shifts away from just doing more work and towards getting more impact from the work you're already doing. This is a really critical mindset shift. For a long time, the advice has always been to just create more, post more. But what our analysis shows is that the most effective creators aren't just creating more, they're getting more value from everything they create.
And this is the mantra that really defines that modern approach. It's a strategy that's completely focused on maximizing your distribution and your impact from a single high-quality piece of work. This is the very definition of working smarter. So when we say publish everywhere, what does that actually look like? Well, we're talking about taking one asset and turning it into more than 20 distinct pieces of content. Let's look at what some of those might be.
And here's just a sample of the variety you can get. A single video doesn't just become a blog post for your website. It can become a thread for X, short-form video clips for TikTok and YouTube, an email for your newsletter, and even things like an internal training document. You're covering all your bases from just one creative effort.
Now, I know this might seem a little complex, but getting started is actually more straightforward than you might think. So let's walk through how you could build your very first automated workflow.
RedHub testing shows that this 5-step process is a really effective way to start. First, you record your core content. Then, you use an AI tool to transcribe it. Third, you generate your new assets. Fourth, you schedule them out. And finally, and this is a really important step, you measure the performance to see what's working. That lets you find your best ideas and give them even more reach.
Now, to make all this happen, you'll need a few tools, which we call a stack.
This table breaks it down into the 4 main jobs you need to get done. You need a tool to capture content, one to transcribe it, another to repurpose it, and one to distribute it. The specific tools aren't as important as understanding the role that each category plays in the system.
Okay, a question we always get from marketers is about SEO. Is creating all this content from a single source actually good for your search engine rankings? It's a great question.
And the answer is yes, but it has to be done strategically. When it's done right, our analysis shows that it's actually fantastic for SEO. It helps you build topical authority because you're covering a subject from many different angles, and it creates far more assets for search engines to index.
Here is the most important part, though. You cannot just publish the raw transcript everywhere. That's a bad idea, and it could be seen as duplicate content. The key is to use AI to help you create unique versions for each platform, and then have a quick human review to make sure it's high quality.
So, if there's one thing to take away from this explainer, it's this. Stop creating content that only gets one shot. The real goal should be to build a system that gives every single thing you create the maximum possible leverage and a long, productive life.
Now, this has been a high-level look at the system. If you want to go deeper and explore the specific tools, advanced workflows, and see a full comparison, you can read our complete guide over on RedHub AI.